I think Uday should join back any moment. Let's just wait for him. While Uday joins back, as a sanity check, I request everyone apart from the speakers to be on mute, unless you really want to post any questions.
Hello, Metro, am I audible? Sorry about this. I had some.
No worries, Uday. Yes, no, much better.
Yeah, it is better. Sorry about this. So after the welcome address by Mr. Anurag, we would have Professor Radhakrishna Ganti from IIT Madras, who will be talking about open test bed facility and support. Thereon, we would have Mr. Raunik Kase from ST Microelectronics talking about entrepreneurship program and incubation activity support here in the 5G Hackathon phase 2. Thereon, we would have Mr. Subrata Mitra from Ericsson, who would be talking on infrastructure setup and support to operators. And from VC's perspective on 5G solutions, Mr. Abhijit Singh from Smile Group would address us. Thereon, we would have Q&A session and then closing remarks. So thanks again, everyone, for joining in. I think we can begin. Anurag ji, if you could please give the welcome address.
Okay, thank you, Uday, and a warm welcome and a good afternoon to all the participants, my participants and the eminent speakers whom we have got together. We have seen that 5G, why it's important, it should be resilient. We saw the challenges which we are facing. So we hope and expect that all the local innovations that our innovators have brought together, the ecosystem will try and help them to become global. And towards that, we have got a representative from the OEM, from the test bed, how we will facilitate the testing, and also from the ST Micro and from the VC's perspective. So without spending much more time on this, may I welcome and invite Sir Ganti to speak about the test bed and how it will be facilitated for the innovators. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Thanks Anurag sir for the kind introduction. Can someone confirm if I'm audible and my screen is visible?
Yes, it is.
Just one minute, let me just make it full screen and okay. So my name is Radhakrishna. I'm a faculty in the Department of Electrical Engineering at IIT Madras. So among other things, I'm also part of the 5G testbed team at IIT Madras, and I'm looking at the development of the 5G base station at, as part of the testbed program. Okay. So today, in addition to what I mean, so I have looked at all the participants, what people have proposed in their as part of the 5G hackathon. And I just want to I will today give some of my views and suggestions, and also tell you how this 5G testbed facility can help you out in some of these aspects. Okay. So first, before we start, I just want to give one slide on what is 5G about. Okay, this is just to put things in context on what has been suggested by different people for this 5G hackathon. I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk about something called LMLC. There's a reason why I'll do that. So this will tell you why some of these things, what you have proposed, will be easy and some of them will be very hard. Then I'll talk about the 5G testbed facility, and then I'll conclude my talk. It should take about 15 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes at most. Okay. So what is 5G about? 5G talks about 3 usage scenarios. Okay. Most of you will know this: EMBB, enhanced mobile broadband; MMTC, massive machine type communication; URLLC, ultra reliable low latency communication. Okay. So these three are the biggest, are the umbrella use cases of 5G. Okay, so and 5G has been envisioned to cover these 3 things. Okay? So EMBB is mainly about broadband services. This is sorry, am I audible? Is there any issue? Okay. EMBB is to provide broadband and high-speed internet connectivity to all the people. So this is one of the major important things of 5G. Okay. Then comes MMTC, massive mission type communication, which is a more technical name for IoT. Okay. So essentially, if you look at MMTC is about small packet connectivity, talking to sensors, some small video cameras and other things. Okay. And the final thing is called the URLLC, ultra reliable low latency communication. This is mainly for low latency. Suppose you want to fly a drone, or you want to control a car that's moving, or do a factory control system on 5G. This is where things come out. You want to do remote surgery. Some of you have proposed remote surgeries. Okay. So ultra reliable low latency communication comes into picture. Okay. So whatever use case that you have envisioned in the 5G hackathon has to fall in one of these 3 categories. I mean, at least at the very high level, it does fall in one of these 3 categories, except for a few which I'll talk about later. Okay. So I want to tell you what is the current status of these 3 with respect to vis-a-vis 5G. Okay. When I say 5G, I mean about 5G NR implementation by base station vendors. Okay. So EMBB, which is a broadband, is very, very mature and is implemented in most of the base stations. Okay. If you look at any 5G deployment, it's mostly about EMBB. Okay. So this is the bread and butter of 5G. And then next comes MMTC, massive mission type communication. Okay. It turns out MMTC of 5G, which is called the 5G MMTC, is not yet very popular and it has not been implemented. I mean, it's not implemented. Most of the times when they say MMTC, it's NB-IoT, which still is from 4G. It is still being used and it's very, very, very popular. 5G MMTC has all the framework. In a few more years, it is going to absorb NB-IoT. But at this moment, it has some way to catch up in terms of both specification and features. Okay. So this is about the IoT, of the current status of IoT on 5G. And the last thing is the URLLC. Okay. So URLLC has been implemented by some vendors. I have seen this in India Mobile Congress and other places. Okay. To what extent they have done is not very clear. Okay. The main problem with URLLC is it requires a 1 millisecond or less latency requirement. And this requires an end-to-end optimization across base station, core network, and all the software in between. It's not an easy task under any circumstances. Okay. So this is, in a few more years, of course, all these things will be done by 5G. But at this moment, EMBB is the most mature. And NB-IoT, the MMTC part, the massive mission type communication will be coming from 4G rather than 5G. Okay, 5G MMTC has some time to catch up and become more mature. So URLLC again is, people are implementing it. I think it will, in a year or so, it will become much more mature and you will see more deployments of URLLC. Okay, I just want to tell you the current status of this. Okay, so I have been when I saw all the 5G hackathon the people who have been selected, they want so either they want to do some application, or they want to change some functionality of the network, or they want to tap into some specific signaling parts of the network, or change specifications and requirements. So it just falls in one of these categories. So I have arranged them in increasing order of difficulty. Applications are the easiest. Okay, you don't have to change anything in the network. You just write your applications and you use the features that are provided by 5G. Some of you want to tap into some signaling parts of the of the network so that you can do something more intelligent. For example, edge computing. Some people want to tinker around with ultra reliable low latency communication protocols. Drone communication. So these require those will be somewhere in between. And some people want to change, for example, backhaul specifications and other things. So that's the last thing. Okay, so as things go below, it becomes more and more difficult for implementation, as well as the timelines become large. I just take a couple of minutes and tell you why this is large. I will just take an example of the LMLC. Okay, so this is something that we have done about from the last 5-6 years. We have been doing this. We started this low mobility large cell network, feature in 5G, mainly for rural connectivity. Okay, so we want to do rural connectivity using our BharatNet. Towards this, we have introduced a new feature in ITU called LMLC. Okay, so earlier rural connectivity was something about high-speed vehicles passing through villages, and they want to get connected to those base stations. Okay, but what we wanted is actual broadband connectivity for the rural. So what we have done a lot of studies in TSDSI and other places, and we came up with some requirements for LMLC, low mobility large cell. Okay, what we want is the base station should be far apart so that each base station can serve a larger area and more number of users. And the mobility in this kind of scenarios are very less because you have only farm tractors or sensors that are there in the farms. Okay. So we went with this idea. We thought this would be a fast process, and we went to ITU and 3GPP, and I'll tell you how much time it took. Okay. So we introduced LMLC in October 2016 in ITU. Okay. After about 1 year of very, very rigorous fights, it got accepted into ITU. Okay. To get this and accepted in ITU, we had to do a lot of, give them a lot of data in terms of drive tests. Okay. And we have to do a lot of, get a lot of support from Department of Telecommunications, academia, and local industry. So what I want to emphasize is as you're going below the chain and you want to do something, change standards or specifications, it becomes more and more difficult. Okay. And some of you, I was looking at drone communications. I was looking at some of you want to do larger coverage, underwater coverage. So you guys have to do a lot of this drive tests and other things. So you have to remember that some of the, things don't come easily. You have to spend a lot of time and effort. It's important. So that is an ITU. How about pushing in 3GPP, which is the main specification body? So the same technology, we went to 3GPP with actual technology to implement, provide higher coverage in the uplink. We started this proposal fighting in 2017. Even now, only a very small parts of this have been accepted to 3GPP. And we have been shuttling around various RAN 1, RAN 2, RAN 4 multiple times. So again, I want to emphasize that as you come down the chain and you want to change something fundamental, it takes time. So you have to have a lot of patience. Okay, and you have to also have a good team to do this. Okay, with that, warning, a lot of you have proposed applications. So applications are much more easier to implement, and you can actually test this out quickly. I'm going to give a high-level overview of 5G testbed. Okay, so that was the main essence of this talk. I will talk about what 5G testbed can provide you, and how you can use it, and when you can use it. Okay, so 5G testbed has been funded by Department of Telecommunications. There are 8 main institutions involved in building this 5G testbed. IIT Mumbai, IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, Samir, Indian Institute of Sciences, CIVIT, IIT Hyderabad, and IIT Delhi. Samir is a center for electromagnetics. It specializes in building antennas. Okay, someone of you has written a proposal about building lightweight antennas, so that's why I'm telling. Samir is one good place. CIVIT is the Center for Excellence in Wireless Technology. They mainly focus on specifications, and they understand the 5G specifications in and out very well. Okay, all of other people have different strengths and expertise. So as a part of this test bed, we are developing a lot of things. Okay, so we're building an end-to-end 5G testbed. So what this means is we're building an 5G end-to-end 5G network. So as part of the testbed, we are developing millimeter wave systems. We are developing massive MIMO systems. So in a massive MIMO system, for example, at 3.5 gigahertz, we have 64 antenna systems, we have 32 antenna systems, we have 16 antenna systems, we have 4 antenna systems. Okay. So when we say a system, we mean actual the hardware, the software, everything is developed in-house. Okay. So whatever we are developing is 5G compliant, 3GPP and 5GI compliant. Both of them are, this is compliant to both of these things. Okay. So we support both sub 6 gigahertz in the millimeter wave systems, millimeter wave. So one caveat of the 5G testbed, it is a standalone mode. It does not support LTE. Okay, it only supports 5G. 5G in standalone mode. There's another mode called non-standalone mode, which piggybacks on LTE, but we are not supporting that in the testbed. Okay, the entire 5G core is also developed in-house, and it's an SDN-based system. Okay, so this is the high-level end-to-end testbed. So most probably you will write your applications in the UV and some parts in the G node B, and you will assume that they both talk to each other and you can test your thing. Okay, there are multiple ways of using this network. Okay, you can use with the RF, you can use without the RF. You can also use our test equipment to test out any of if you are developing your IoT sensors or IoT, if you're testing generating your base stations, you can test out with our test equipment also. Okay. So I just want to give a highlight of some of, I want to show you some pictures. So on the left-hand side is a 16 antenna base station that we have developed. So this is GPS, this has GPS inbuilt into it. It is 16 antenna, the antennas are in this blue chassis. It's a remote radio head. You can put this on the top of a tower. This can withstand rain, lightning, all those things. We have tested out all those things. Okay. And this soon we are, hopefully we'll deploy this in the IIT Madras campus very soon. So some of you can even come and actually start using that network. Okay. On the right side, I show some of the internal parts of this thing, where you see a phased array system, a 64 antenna phased array system for millimeter wave systems. On the bottom, you see our baseband unit. It's a special PCI cards that we develop for 5G processing. Okay. So the entire software and the hardware stack is through the partners in the 5G testbed. Okay. So how can you use the testbed? Okay, that's what I want to answer this question now. I'll take about 3-4 minutes on answering this question. So I think most of you will fall under this category of application users. So where you don't care what is there in the testbed. All you require is 5G network. Okay. So what do I mean by that? You just write applications on your user equipment or your phones. Now there are already phones which support 5G. So you write your applications there. And similarly, you have your servers which run your other application on the other side, the application servers. And you use the testbed to connect this both. Okay, you don't care what is happening in the testbed. Okay, as long as the UV is connected to the testbed at certain frequencies and certain bandwidth is provided to you, you don't care about. Okay. So, a lot of applications, a lot of hackathon users will fall into this category, actually. Okay. As long as you don't worry about what is happening inside the test, but you don't care about the physical layer, you don't care about what are the internals of the 5G and NAS specifications. Okay. The next thing is the for startups and SMEs. Some of you wanted to develop base stations, UEs, and some base stations are small cell networks. Okay. In that case, what you can do is you can remove parts of our test bed and put your own things. Okay. These are modular in nature. For example, you develop your remote radio head. You can come and put your remote radio head, connect with our baseband unit, and hopefully things will work on and you can test your thing. Okay. That is one way of. Otherwise, you have your own UV. You can test your UV with our base station. Okay. Or with the the other part of the network. Okay. So this is one way. This is a little bit more difficult. Applications is the easy part. This is a little bit more difficult. This involves you to understand the specification. You understand the interfaces very well, but you can still do this. A testbed would allow you to do this. Okay. If you are really a research user and you want to change the algorithms also, we'll allow you to do that. It's very, very difficult. Okay, I mean, not from a permission perspective, but actually implementing this is difficult. But nevertheless, we would certainly allow this. Okay, specifically from the more academic-oriented people, we will allow this, where you can change, you can tweak parameters of the algorithms, or you can change algorithms itself, or some modules of the specific modules of the physical layer or the core network. Up to you. You can do that. Okay, but this is much more challenging in the sense that you require to really understand what you are doing. It's not as easy as an application. Okay, so when will the testbed be ready? So the entire testbed will be ready by September of this year, and will be open to the public. Okay, with the RAN, radio access network, and other things. But saying that most of you require only a core network with RAN emulator. Okay, that's what it looks like. I mean, at least going to the proposals, I feel that you really don't care about the radio part, because a lot of you are talking about applications and other things. So you can actually use the core network right now with the RAN emulator. And you can, I mean, there's lots of models in which you can use this radio access network. You can do in-person, remote, or, I mean, those things can be provided based on the interest and availability. Okay. Okay. So I just want to tell you, so I have categorized all the applications into different buckets. I see that there are lots of people who want to work on drones. Okay. So drones, I mean, of course, for drones, this testbed is at this moment is of not too much use, because this testbed cannot be put on drones. But you can put your UVs on the drones and try to connect to our testbed. That is perfectly, possible. Okay, as long as you can meet the requirement specifications, that should be possible. Okay, so a lot of you, specifically in the agriculture side, want to use drones to do crop monitoring, then relay the crop and soil monitoring, and relay this information to the base stations. So this is a very interesting thing. And a lot of people want to do IoT also. So for IoT, again, as I told you, 5G IoT is not mature enough. Okay, you have to go back to NB IoT, which is a 4G technology. Okay, at this moment, that's the best bet you have. So there are people, EMBB, there are lots of people who want to do videos, EMBB and other things. That's very, very straightforward application. Okay, there are few companies who want to do backhaul. Okay, so that's again something interesting, and I think we have already been in touch on from the testbed perspective from different in different contexts. We'll be happy to help you on the backhaul perspective also. And you can backhaul at the front haul perspective, and we can check this out. Okay, some of the applications are about rural connectivity. Again, providing backhaul services and using 5G to provide millimeter wave 5G, and to do this. Again, this is certainly that can be thought about, but I don't know how the testbed can be used in this particular context. Okay, some people wanted to build small cells and other things. If you have a small cell, you can actually think about, if you want a core network and other things for your small cell, you can actually look at if the testbed can be used to provide core network connectivity for your small cell. Okay, so I mean, what I can say is I can say that testbed can be used to evaluate some of these ideas that you have. I mean, I may not be everything, but we can if you're interested, we can look at the feasibility on which ideas can be evaluated and other things. We are happy to open up the testbed, and most of us will be happy to mentor on any need basis. For I mean, on my side, I'll be happy to mentor anyone on the physical layer or understanding of the 5G networks. But there are other experts in the 5G testbed team who understand core networks or backhaul networks, front haul, all these things much more deeper, and will be able to help you out in any way that's deemed fit. Okay. With this, I want to stop. I'll be happy to take any questions at any point. You can also contact me at my email address. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There's some couple of questions if you would like to take them now. Quickly, we will, I think, take the questions. The first one is that, can we test with Elite 5G mmWave SA modules in this 5G network? Hello.
Yeah, Uday, you are audible. Mr. Ganti, are you there?
Hello. I think he's Professor. Are you muted, Mr. Ganti?
Yeah, hello, sir. I mean, sorry. Yeah, I mean, were you able to hear my talk now?
No, talk. We were able to hear you completely till the end.
Yes, yes.
Just that there were some questions which were posted on the chat, so we wanted to check if that those could be addressed as well right now, or you are okay to address them at the end of the session. Or
I can address them at the end. I mean, let everything finish, then I can address them. I'll also try to answer them directly on the chat.
okay, great, sir. Thank you, thank you. So next we have the ST entrepreneurship program and incubation, Mr. Raunak. If you would like to take that session, please.
Yes, so let me share my screen. Uh, uh, no, just, just. Are you able to see my screen, or there's a
Yes,
challenge?
yes, we can, we can.
Is it coming? No, I don't know what.
We are able
Just
to see the
Make it full
screen.
screen, sir.
using to. Let me switch over
See the
the.
screen. What you're presenting in other screen, you want to change it.
Yeah. I understood. Yeah, this let me do it. Uh, Zoom. What happened? New share screen one. Share. Let, let me know if.
Yes, yes. Now it is full screen visible. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, come to the. Sorry. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. So, my name is Ronak. I work with ST Microelectronics in a team by name SRA, System Research and Application. So, we are R&D team, and we develop reference designs based on ST product for demand creation. I also manage a startup lab in ST India. So, I would the agenda would be like I would take you first about just in short about company presentation, which would come to know about the different kinds of products we're developing, which can be used in some of the project we're doing. I see a lot of project on drones, agriculture, adding smartness to gadget. So this requires a lot of electronics. So this may be useful. And then I will also talk about the startup lab of the kind of support we are giving to entrepreneur startups to develop or realize their electronic solutions. You can put your question on the chat and I will reply you after my presentation, your questions on the chat. So a brief presentation on the Honesty Microelectronics for those who don't know us. So we are one of the world largest semiconductor companies with revenues of 10.2 billion and having 46,000 employees, out of which 8,100 are in R&D. We have 80 sales and marketing office and 100,000 customers across the globe with 11 manufacturing sites. We are also signatory of United Nations Global Compact and member of Responsible Business Alliance. And in India, we have R&D office in Greater Noida with around 800 people, and then we have sales office in Bangalore, Pune, Bombay, and we have another small setup coming R&D coming up in Bangalore. So where you can see us. So what our strategy? So ST today are focusing on three main things. One on the smart mobility. So we are into heavily into automotive products, automotive in terms of be it in the chassis, in the body, in safety, in engine. So you will find a lot of products coming from ST in the smart mobility. Then we are also in the power and energy domain where we have a technology and solutions that enable customers to increase energy efficiency everywhere and support the use of renewable energy resource. And we are also doing a lot of work on activity around Internet of Things and 5G. So we have a broad portfolio of sensors, motion sensors, humidity, temperature sensors, then lidars. Then we have lots different category types of controllers, secure microcontrollers, different connectivity technologies like LoRa, NB, IoT, then sub 1 gigahertz, Bluetooth, then a lot of power management solutions, and also we have tools and ecosystem to realize the prototype before you actually do the development on the board side. So if you see, we have dedicated automotive ICs, then we have analog and industrial power conversion ICs, MOSFET, or we work in the silicon carbide or gallium nitride technologies to increase the efficiency in automotive solutions. We have a general purpose microcontrollers, we have microprocessor unit, we have secure MCUs and EPROMs. So we are leaders in MCUs, and we have just launched MPUs. We have secure MCUs for security applications in Internet of Things. We are very strong on the power side, on the power and discrete transistors. We are leaders on the MEMS and optical sensing solution. MEMS stands for macro electronic electromechanical sensors. So we have accelerometer, gyroscope. Then we have motion magnetometer and other sensors. We also have a sensor called time of flight and color rainbow sensors to detect the colors. And we have S6 based on ST proprietary technologies for different connectivities. So some of the products coming on the MEMS and optical sensing solutions, like we have accelerometer, e-compass, a magnetometer, gyroscope, inertial modules, motion MEMS with ambient temperature sensor. So these are heavily used in drones or in any of the IoT solution where you need to sense the parameter of an object in terms of its orientation. We also have like a pressure sensor, temperature sensor, and humidity to have the environment to know the environmental parameters. And we also have MEMS microphone to catch the voice, and you can have also beam forming, and with more than 2 or 4 MEMS you can also have voice capturing. Then you can do AI based solutions to recognize voice commands and take some actions. In terms of in macro actuators, we have actuators for printers, we have macro mirrors and drivers, we have piezoelectric actuators, electrostatic actuators, electromagnetic actuators, and thermal actuators, a lot of different actuators and different technologies. In optical sensing, we have a device like flight sense or time of flight proximity sensors. It is based on on the laser technologies. Then we have flight sense. We have then global shutter for CMOS image sensors. You can find them on the mobiles, on your mobile set, handset. We have ambient light sensors and custom optical solutions. So we have different kinds of sensors coming from our optical sensing solutions, which can be used in different IoT solutions. On the analog and industrial power conversions, we have like AC/DC converters, linear voltage regulators, voltage reference, LED ICs, intelligent power switch, battery management ICs, wireless power solutions, PoE, photovoltaic, and also we have different kinds of power management solutions for different kinds of products. We have upcoming like wireless chargers for a mobile phone and for 50-watt and 100-watt home appliance. On the analog side, we have other solutions, very metering IC, which can be talked in common. Then we have some medical ICs coming from the analog products. On motor control, we are heavily invested on different motor control applications.
Hello. I think I'm losing your voice. Is it for everyone?
I think you lost him.
Yeah, we've lost him. Ronak, you can try muting and unmuting Vidal.
Kindly hold on. Let me reconnect.
Okay, Ronak says that he has some electricity issues. He should be joining back in 2 minutes.
Okay, so do we take
Meanwhile, we can
questions?
take a few Q&As. Yeah, Uday.
Yeah, very good, Naj. Yeah, Professor Ganti, would you like to just possibly take few questions? I think you are addressing them here.
Sure. I'll try to take a few questions. Other questions I request the organizers if they can send me the copy a mail. I will reply and send it to you back.
Sure.
Sure.
I'll start with this. Of course, can we test the Telit 5G mmWave SA modules in this network, in this 5G network? I'm not sure of what is Telit 5G mmWave SA modules, but if it's 3GPP complaint, yes, you should be able to test it out in the September timeframe. Can any other devices be used instead of mobile phones like development boards? Yes. So we have a test UV also. We developed our own UV, which is not a small form factor, it's a FPGA board. So we are actually testing our network with that one also. So you can also use that board for your development. Okay. It's not available in the market. These are all custom made things. Can network edge APIs be available for consumption in the applications? Yes, they will be available. So from the core network part of it, the network and the edge APIs will be available. If you want more details, you can email me and I will put you in touch with the correct person. Okay. I'm not very sure of the multi-domain orchestrator. I'm not the correct person. I will put you in touch with the correct person. I think we are building one orchestrator. I don't know what exactly the details though. Can we test robotic arms on this test bed? Okay, that's a very good question. So we have not implemented URLLC in this. Okay, so the test bed does not provide you guarantee you 1 millisecond latency. Okay, if your robotic arm can sustain a little bit of more delay, then we are fine. Otherwise, may not be. You have to try this out only, and then we can check it out.
Sorry, I just joined back.
I'll stop and please continue.
Uh, this is Rona. Can I start? Sorry for the disruption.
Yeah, you can resume.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm resuming.
We're just utilizing time to answer a few questions, but I think thanks. Yeah.
Okay. So apology for the issues. So I was here then we have different technologies for connectivity like Bluetooth 7 gigahertz at 868 megahertz. We have Sigfox. We have LoRa fan technology.
By chance, if you are
Your screen
sharing the
is
screen, we are
screen
not
is
able
not
to
visible.
I have shared.
share.
Let me share once more. Sharing, share. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, so I was here when there was a disruption. So on the connectivity side, we have Bluetooth low energy and ICs where we have P2P communication, and also which we have Bluetooth mesh technology, software stack for one to many in a broadcast mode. Then we have 7 gigahertz transceivers. We have Sigfox, LoRaWAN technologies. When we say technology, apart from the IC, we have a complete software solution that runs over these ICs to demonstrate the everything. Then we have short range RF transceivers and power line communications and IO links. So we also work on the industrial domain. So we have those connectivities also. Uh, Okay, so we have a strong portfolio on the diodes, rectifiers on the power side. As I mentioned, we are working on the silicon carbide and gallium nitride technology. It's upcoming technologies where it is used on the EV segment to have efficiency on the battery life. So a lot of work is done and we have different packages like MOSFET, silicon carbide, MOSFET, then IGBTs and ASPAC power modules. So a lot of work on the power side. On the MCU
Coming
and
to
and on the MCU and MPU, we have we have a strong portfolio on the microcontroller side, more than 1,000 plus compatible devices. Then we have 8-bit MCUs also, a dedicated series for mainstream, ultra low power and automotive system, and automotive and rich ecosystem. We have a very good software packages, software ecosystem to help you to develop solutions based on the controllers. We have also a strong portfolio for the secure sims or secure microcontrollers. We also have eSIM, the embed SIM that is mandated for the automobile. Then we have NFC near field communications for secure payment and for the communications. We also have an NFC near field communications RFID tags for you can say the metro cards and all those and UHF readers. So we have these also coming in from our product portfolios. Now I move to the startup lab. So the startup labs here was started in 2017. The idea is that we have a selection mechanism, and then we provide the startups a dedicated lab, an office space here in our ST office, Greater Noida. We also have a dedicated lab for them with instruments for testing like oscilloscopes or logic analyzers, and we also have to help them in soldering few boards and getting their developing a prototype in the lab. The greatest strength of our lab is the technical consultancy. So we have a pool of engineers who are technically sound in one or the other product domains, and the startup labs get access to these technical people right from the schematic design to the development of PCBs and writing softwares and finding bugs and helping them in thinking in some directions to solve their problems, which you cannot find on google.com. So it can give only direction, but here you have direct access to the mentors to work to get the solutions for your problems. When I say, then I come to product development. When I say product development, it is like uh, we would help you in developing or realizing your product from the scratch, like from the idea till you have a first PCB proto running. We would be helping you, guiding you, mentoring you, and giving our feedbacks, our experiences to you for realizing your product. So all this we provide under the umbrella of startup labs, where you can come and sit and work. In COVID times, the lab is closed and our office is also work from home. But we do work on on web-based tools like what we're doing on Zoom or phone. So we are still working with the startups, and we, with the help of WhatsApp and all those things, we're helping them in debugging their solutions. So how it happens? So ST helps startup companies from concept to prototype development that includes design review, schematic layout review, component selections, and technical consultations. And if a person, if there's a development going in your startups for which we don't have an expert in India, we have experts in Europe and in America whom we can consult and give you we can help you out. So we have, it's not only like it's an India program, but the reach is not only India engineers, it can be ST worldwide engineers. We assign one ST designer with each startup. This is the model we follow, depending on the skill of the engineer and the domain in which the startup is working, so that the person is technically sound to understand the problem. He can be the single point of contact for the startups, and then depending on the need, he can connect, he can talk to other ST engineers. Startup companies also get an opportunity to interact with the sales and marketing colleagues in our office once the prototype is ready for business opportunities. So because sales and marketing sales guys are short term, so they look only for business. So when your prototype is ready, we involve them if there is some opportunity for you, and marketing guys, we involve marketing guys to, because they can help you in pitching the right product from ST, or and also give you a perspective of the upcoming solutions in different product segment. Here are some of the glimpses of the office space we inaugurated, if you see. And the beauty is that this is your office, and then we sit right across. So we are next to you, where we can you can just come across and say hello, and we can discuss over a cubicle, standing or on a coffee table. So we started this journey in with three companies working in IoT domain, and till now I can say we have more than 10 companies who have worked or worked with us on different technologies, and there are some of the boards coming from different startups. So this is the IP these companies have. Finally, one or two slides. So this is a guy is the company we incubated from 2017 onwards, and they developed voice based AI solutions, edge solutions for voice based recognizing a few commands like lights on, lights off. And they were invited this to bring this solution to the US office, because they were also parallelly incubated by the Microsoft India. So they got opportunity to demonstrate their AI solutions on ST products. In the same way, we also have solutions like this. If you see this feedback solutions at the airport, Gaia has installed this feedback solution. It is developed uh, based on ST technologies. More than that, it is developed right from the scratch, from the layout schematic to design reviews, and to coming the first prototype installing on the airports, on all the airports in the country. Then we have another company called Sevia. They installed these solar street lighting solutions in IT universities. So these are some of the glimpses of the successes we achieved through startups, and we hope we can have more successes with you who are working on agriculture, on drones, on smart gadgets, on 5G, on AI, ML stuff on the edge side. Again, I repeat, this is my last slide. So as a startup program, we offer office space, dedicated lab, technical consultancy, and product development to help you, guide you in your entrepreneurship journey. Thank you from my side. If there are any questions, you can put in a chat box, and I can answer you in the interest of time. And you can also put me a mail, and I will reply you back.
Thanks, Mr. Ronaka. If you could share your email ID also in the chat, it will be helpful.
Sure, I will
Yeah,
do that.
appreciate. Next we have Mr. Subrata Mitra from Ericsson. Thanks for your patience. If you could take over on the infrastructure setup and support to operators by the scheme of things. Thank you.
Thank you, Uday. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So regarding the infrastructure from the industry, what is happening is that everyone is waiting for the 5G trials. This one, there, people would have read in the media. Most of the trials are being planned in both 3.5 gigahertz and the millimeter wave band, and I think that will give the who in this hackathon. Winners the opportunity to interact with the operators and get it done. My suggestion would be that they should reach out to the operators through the through DOT, because DOT is approving these trials, and then I think the operators will ensure they get access, to those infrastructure which is getting late. As of now, almost you will find that proposed trials are being done across many cities in the country, at least in all the large cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and it is being done with multiple operators. Almost every operator is planning to do 3 to 4 trials in in different cities. So you will easily have close to 10 to 12 trials around the country. And I think depending on, my suggestion would be, wherever the the hackathon startups they are based out of, they should take this opportunity up to see how it can they can connect and get it done. As far as this, as I said, the trials again, different operators have different strategies on that. Some of them are doing the NSA trial, and some of them are doing the SA trial. So obviously, you will have to see what particular thing you are referring to. Our assumption, my take would be that most of you would be planning primarily to test your application or your use case, and where you are primarily looking at the throughput and the latency. So obviously you'll have to see which trial fits in your requirement, and I think here DOT should be in a position to help you and guide you on that. On the as I said, radios are both on the C band 3.5 and as well as in the millimeter wave band, so they are being there. Backhaul again, both backhaul fiber, fiber based backhaul, and your traditional microwave and E-band based microwave is being will be trialed out. So almost an exact true replica of what an eventual 5G network is going to be like environment will be created or will be simulated in these trials, obviously at a much smaller scale, but at least it will help you all to get the perspective of it. That's it from my end, Uday. I'm open to take any questions if any of them have.
Thanks, Mr. Subhuta. Yeah, you could possibly look for questions in the chat, and in the end, I might possibly post those as well, in case you are not able to address them in the chat. Thanks. So next, I think we have the VC's perspective, right, on 5G solutions. Mr. Abhijit Singh from Smile Group, if you could kindly address. But yeah, Abhijit, I think you are muted.
No, I you can hear me. I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Cool. So I'll tell you about Smile. So we are basically we are venture builder, and technically we invest anywhere from like $500,000 to 2 million ticket size in a seed stage, and then we work and we take a minority stake, and we are kind of a venture operator. So we invest and also work with the teams to help them grow to the next stage. So in last 3 years, we have like 3-4 startups who have like graduated from seed stage to Series B, Series C within 2 years, and like 7 out of 10 investments which we have done have have successfully raised their VC rounds from global and tier 1 Indian VCs. I like to thank Anurag for inviting me for this talk. I will take like 7-8 minutes, and my talk is divided between three portions. One is like VC approach to investing in India. Second is what they are looking for when they invest, especially in Indian context, and what kind of like how do they evaluate ideas, especially for the seed stage. So I'll start. So technically in India, all the VC for now. Technically in India, the VCs, in VC business, you are back. You take money from all government, family offices, big businesses. You build a pool, and out of that, so you and your fund size can be anywhere from 10 million to $1 billion, and there is a cycle in which you deploy your funds. So, and typical fund cycle is of 7 years. So initial 4 years you deploy the money, and in next 3-4 years you try to seek partial exits where you can show your LPs, limited partners, that how your fund is doing, how your investments are doing. So technically in India, all the VCs like Sequoias, Matrix Partners, everybody, they are having phenomenal outcomes in B2C businesses. So all the unicorns in India are created in B2C businesses, just like e-commerce, mobility, social commerce. And why so I think I have given you a perspective like how do VC approach the market. Second, if you have any questions, you can just mail me individually. I will try to answer that. The second part is application of 5G. So as my panel members have given us, I have been hearing through the presentations. So the approach has been towards deep tech, where we are trying to solve network level problems, and it's more in a technical domain. But when we see developing economies, when I see China, India, Indonesia, here VCs look more towards application of technology rather than focus on technology itself. So let's say last year in Indian VC segments, the total investment was of 17 billion, out of which a very small minority, let's say 1%, less than 1% or 2% would be in the deep tech. A majority of investment would go to consumer tech. So all the news which you will hear about companies like social commerce, e-commerce, mobility, they are raising funds. Fintechs are raising funds. So what we believe that in next 4 years, segments like social commerce, which will help new set of users come into e-commerce. Like earlier, when we see platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, they are helping only tier 1 people to transact and have digital access. Now the VCs are thinking that what kind of a platform which will enable tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 segments of Indian population transact and bring them into digital fold. So you can see companies like Meesho just got funded because that is enabling people to transact through WhatsApp. Second, so when 4G came, we saw penetration and explosion of businesses like we have shared services, mobility, e-commerce, OTT. So everybody thanks to Geo kind of innovation. So India became one of the largest OTT consumers in the world, and all the big studios are trying to start their OTT services in India. In next phase, things like financial inclusion, banks, fintech. So the market is not going to change. The technology will not change things. It will make things efficient. So people will, and all the technology which is solving for the basic needs of people. It can be mobility. It can be purchasing anything online. It can be sending money to somebody. These things, whoever are trying to solve these problems using 5G or 4G at scale will become large companies, and startups in this segments will get funded. If you see, and when it comes to deep tech, on the type of presentations we saw, those kind of initiatives will be always supported by large enterprises or governments who have a patience and resources to support that. Third thing is, what will VCs see when they will make investment in any team? So especially in the seed stage. So there are not a lot of data what teams are going to trying to solve, but we typically use three T's, which is like team, traction, and the TAM. So TAM is the most important part. How big the problem the team is trying to solve, and like what kind of an opportunity for value creation. So let's say a lot of startups are trying to solve agri-tech problem. So one of the startups which we invested last year has grown like 10x in valuation, and it's on an everyday basis, it's impacting 1,500 farmers. It is serving 8,000 families in Delhi NCR. So they are connecting farmers of fresh fruits and vegetables to end consumers. It's like a 16-hour supply chain. Again, it has been only possible due to penetration of 4G. So this kind of businesses, like there are multiple unicorns in China. In India, it is it is first of its kind, and multiple such businesses will come, which will try to solve fundamental problems. And at the same time, this is a very large market. That is one. Second, so basically, fresh fruits and vegetables market itself in India is like a 200 billion, and there are multiple inefficiencies in the agri supply chain. So one is TAN, second is traction. Traction, which means when you start a business at a seed stage or an early stage, you might not have consumers, you might not have a proof of a concept, but there would be some business globally somewhere who would be operating in a similar domain at a larger scale. So when somebody started Flipkart in India, there was an Amazon. Somebody started Ola and Ola in India, there was Uber. As somebody started Oyo in India, there was Airbnb. So there is some aloo tikki burger for India, but it doesn't mean that in India cannot have large. So in India, we will build large businesses, but we like VCs will try to see, oh, is there some similar business in some developed economy or in China? So that's how we try to figure out traction. Or maybe there are no comparables, but already there would be some kind of a market. So if we see edtech platforms in India, whether it's Baiju or Unacademy, already there were institutes, coaching institutes in Kota and Delhi. So somebody created a digital version of it, and people in remote areas can study only because they have 4G capabilities and people can stream it. So these are the large outcomes with simple application of technology. So I have covered TAM, traction, and third thing is important is team. So basically, VC investment is a very tough job, which means only 5% of businesses will succeed, and that's the truth. And there people expect mega returns like 100x, 200x, 300x, but they will try to mitigate wherever they are deploying their capital. So they want to put money behind the best people. And what would be ideal team which is trying to solve it? So let's say if it's a B2C business, people would like to see, people have so again, in B2C business, it's very tricky. One example is, let's say, gaming. So gaming is a new domain which is emerging. It's growing at a 50% in India. So if I want to put in money in a gaming business, which we have done like 2 years back, I would like to put in a team which is like millennial, because millennial are the alpha users in gaming. But if I want to put it in a SaaS business, I will try to put in somebody who has experience in enterprise tech. So similarly, people like to see that, okay, the team is like, do they have a higher aptitude, or do they understand their consumers? Do they have a similar kind of experience just to mitigate their risk? Or so this is one. Second is very good combination of tech and the business and ops. So all three of them matters. So like what we have seen that like tech people, they go very deep into the tech. Sometimes they are not aware of, because they are very creative, and they need to be complemented in their efforts by a business guy or an ops guy, because all of them, if they work together, then only there would be an impact which will help consumers and others. So that's it from team, like triple T, that is team, traction, and the TAM. So I believe I have given the VC perspective, how how does VCs are approaching investment in India, how what kind of 5G applications will attract very large VC funding, and the third was the type of team we will be choosing to invest. And for any other questions, you guys can just just mail me. We can have a
awesome Abhijit. It was such a succinct and very insightful, and VC's perspective actually sums it all, in a way, in terms of giving a lot of, I'm sure, benefit to everyone over here. Thanks very much for your insightful talk. So, questions over here. If Nacho, if you'd like to just quickly take ones which we have not been addressed till now.
If anyone has any questions, I can take it, or like I'll just
Yeah.
For everyone's information, I have shared all the speakers' email on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the interest of time, I think we can take one question which is quite common. I think this is addressed to Ronak. I see a lot of questions which ask about how the startups will be selected for this incubation program, and is there any cost involved? Is there any equity being shared? How does that entire process work? Ronak, over to you.
Okay, so we evaluate startups working on technologies, first of all. Anything on the technology, it's like it is upstream or downstream. When I say downstream, is like we have lots of sensors, lots of chips, and some of you may be using this one to develop your solutions for drones, for IoT, for agriculture, for smart, for anything which we want to add smartness by sensors, communication, and computation. Upstream is like you are doing something, developing some antennas, 5G antenna or something else, where you need ST support in developing those new niche technologies. So that is the way we work on those things also. So all on deep technologies involving electronics, around electronics, something that can be put into electronics. Coming on the cost per se, so today there is no charge at all on any kind of thing. This is free. When I say free, free becomes a very a word when the moment becomes free, it becomes useless. So I can say that we have seen this, experienced this, but to be honest, it is free, and we work with them. The only intent is that if some of the startups can use ST products in their electronic solution, that is the only expectation. But that is also, we don't bind them because there are many other challenges we know while developing a solution. So I answered both of your question.
Thanks, Mr.
Let me know if there are
Yeah,
any other
so anything else, I think the participants can write to the speakers. You have their email addresses, I'll put in the chat. In the interest of time, I think Uday, we can wrap it up. We have already pushed it 10 minutes extra.
I really appreciate, just in case, Anurag, you wants to give any closing remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, Uday and Nachappa, and thank you very much all the eminent speakers. You very well covered a lot of doubts and a lot of issues with the innovators would be facing. However, innovators themselves, if they want, they can suggest or topics or issues which they are facing challenges, and we'll try and get the best experts which is available in India or maybe even abroad to answer the questions. So that's all from my side, and thank you very much. And please attend the rest of the webinars. It will be very useful for you to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for your participation. Forward.